Hello everyone, and welcome to the Peddling Prince's Podium. I'm your host, John Ardelli. It's another fairly simple episode this week because, unfortunately, for 2 weeks in a row now, we haven't had much going on lately. I was hoping, actually, this week to do a show on the tall ships, but unfortunately they only came as far as Port Hawkesbury this year, and that was just too far for us to go, so I guess we missed out on that. And of course there's relative lack of time and money, but actually one of the big things that's been keeping me occupied last few weeks actually is that personal writing project I mentioned last week. A reason I didn't go into it much last week is because it's kind of an unusual project, and I'm not even sure how exactly I can explain it. I can tell you what it is, but why I'm writing it is a different question. But basically, for the last several months, I've been on a bit of a nostalgia kick for shows I used to watch when I was a kid. One in particular is the He-Man and Masters of the Universe cartoons. I have always enjoyed those. They're among my favorite shows from that time period. That and, well, I liked She-Ra as well, to a lesser extent, because my sister was into that, so she and I would tend to watch those together. But anyway, while I was watching these shows and starting to get back into them and starting to remember some of how much fun they used to be, a story started to form in my head, just vague ideas at first. And then, not too long ago, I got a hold of a copy of the Meatloaf album, Bat Outta Hell 2, Back into Hell. Then that was an album I actually had in my own collection, but I lost it somewhere. I don't know, it must be in my apartment somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it for years. So I borrowed Rob's copy, and I got that into my computer. And I started listening to that, and I started to remember how much I used to love this music. It was like Meatloaf's music just seems to, affect me emotionally in a way that no other artist does. It's really. But anyway, soon that started to meld with the stuff I was thinking about with Masters of the Universe, and then the story really started to take shape. And ultimately, with using the Meatloaf music as an inspiration, I started developing a story, which I'm actually writing as a screenplay now, based on the original Masters of the Universe cartoons from the 1980s. Not any of the reboots or the live-action movie, but the one that was but using the interpretation from the 1985 cartoon. After I did some research, I actually found some interesting things about the backstories of some of the characters that I decided that I wanted to run with. So basically, I just sat down and started writing this screenplay. I never really outlined it or anything. It just sort of started flowing. I had some vague ideas for some scenes, some clearer ideas for other scenes, but no overall story. It wasn't until I actually sat down, started writing it, that I started to tie these scenes together into a coherent narrative. Now, obviously, given what this screenplay is, like my Dark Crystal sequel, The Crystal of Truth, this one isn't intended for production. I'm most likely going to be publishing it on fan fiction sites, and if and when I do that, I'll make sure that I mention it on the show at some point, so that if anyone wants to check it out, they can, or you can drop me a line if you want me to email it to you or whatever. I can do that too, once it's finished. But anyway, that's what's really been taking up a lot of my time, because it's a rather emotionally intense story, actually, because it's aimed at the audience, the original audience of the Masters of the Universe cartoons in the 1980s. And by that I mean it's not aimed at children. It's aimed at the people who were children then, who are now adults. And it takes a more mature approach to the characters. Basically, the idea is to get a look at the Masters of the Universe characters as we knew them from the cartoon, but seeing a little bit more of the, I guess you could say, behind the scenes, the kind of thing that if they were your adult friends, you might know about them, find out about them. If you were their close friends, they were talking to you about their lives, and tying that into a rather intensive, emotional story as well. So I'm going to be working on that again over this weekend. However, this weekend, Marie really wants to go out for another buffet lunch, and so if we do that, that's probably what next week's show will be on, if we go out to the lunch. If not, I'll find something else to do. But next week I'm going to find something better to do with the show, I promise. But anyway, I would like to thank you all for watching the Peddling Prince's Podium. I'm your host, John Ardelli, and I hope to see you all again here next week. Bye for now.